Well, it's time to piss off the Groypers again.
Well.
Well, indeed.
Hey, AP, you check out this letter yet?
What letter?
Someone just sent it to me. Jai just sent it to me.
What
Charlie's letter, Charlie Kirk's letter to Israel that Candace was speculating about.
Oh, no, I haven't checked it out yet. No.
Oh, goodness.
Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
What are you counting?
Little over 6 pages. A little over 6-page single space.
Let me guess. It was totally in favor of Israel, and Candace was lying again.
I haven't read it. I just now got it like 30 seconds, like while the intro was playing, I got that letter. But that's what the comment on it would suggest, but I'll have to read it myself. But it will be interesting comparing it with what Candace said it must have said.
And she was going all out like, why don't you reveal the letter? I know that Benjamin Netanyahu is lying about the letter because I know for a fact that Charlie Kirk was actually turning on Israel and they were lying about him.
Yo, did you see how insane that was? Because she made it sound like she actually has the letter. Yeah. That's what it sounded like. It sounded like she has the letter. And I know. But then when people started calling her out saying, hey, why aren't you posting the letter? Show us the letter. Show us what he actually said. She posted some text message from Charlie Kirk where she commented on his tweet, and it was something about being pro-free speech. And she's like, see, this is how I know the letter didn't say that he's supporting Israel, because he said he's supporting free speech here. And this must be an attack on Bibi Netanyahu for trying to crack down. It's like, this is where you get your facts from.
That's the thing, like with Candace Owens, the things that she says nowadays, it's like it makes you wonder whether she is she genuinely has like problems understanding things, whether she's insane, whether she's lying outright. It's very difficult to tell right now. I don't know.
Wait,
something's really going wrong with her.
You mean this Candace Owens?
You don't get to ask those questions. What's wrong with you, Mom? Are you so scared?
That Candace Owens?
Yeah.
That's the one you're talking about? Yeah.
Actually, you could, unedited, you could use that as a clip in a horror film. Like
exactly.
For someone who's possessed.
I have to say, as much as I have big problems with Candace Owens, I actually kind of like that clip because I think it's kind of a good act, you know.
She's crazy. Well, speaking of crazy fringe people, Nick Fuentes got on PBD Podcast.
Woohoo!
It wasn't all bad. But Patrick did a pretty good job holding his feet to the fire on certain things. Yeah, it was, but there were some other issues in there. I don't know if you guys watch any of it, or are you guys going into this blind?
I've seen 0 of it, not 1 second.
Excellent.
I've seen a few. I've seen one clip and seen a few minutes of it. Primarily focused on the whole Jews versus Muslims topic, actually. So I wonder if you're going to highlight that.
I was going to highlight it first.
Because PBD was apparently, he asked him follow-up questions where it was then exposed that Nick's logic was totally flawed and all that.
Oh, yeah. Nick starts to, it appears to contradict himself. We'll get into that here in a minute. It was pretty bad, but I wanted to go over the clip because I realized I've not pissed off the Groypers in a while, so I thought we could do that. And immediately, the funniest thing is, the moment I posted this stream earlier today, there were already people in the live chat going, "You guys can't shut up about Nick Fuentes.
Nick, why are you so obsessed with?
Why are you obsessed?" I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, we did this like once, like 2 years ago. Like, what are you?"
You're obsessed. That's what we call obsessed. Hey guys, when you guys run your mouth about Nick Fuentes all the time, you obviously want attention for Nick for Nick Fuentes. Okay, well, we're happy to give him some attention and explain what a dumb loser he is.
And of course, their obsession with Jews is absolutely not an obsession.
Yeah, Jews, Netanyahu, Israel, Jews. Talmud, what about the Talmud? Guys, okay, let's go ahead and look at this. Oh my goodness, why are you so obsessed?
That's basically what happens every single freaking time with these guys. It's crazy. But yeah, we'll get into this. 1 second. Got some super chats. Are you all on good terms with Kip and Ja? Josh currently, or not so much?
I mean,
no, definitely not Kip. I'd like to rebuild a relationship with Josh. Going to try for that. But Kip is still running his mouth, insulting me any second chance he can get, and showing up in random live chats too.
And I'll just say, I don't know what you mean by y'all, because I never heard of either one of these guys.
Nah, you should keep it that way, especially for the first one. Fun fact, in the Donald J. Trump campaign, we viewed Nick Fuentes and his shills the same as Reddit leftists. Their daily anti-Donald J. Trump talking points were identical. Go figure.
I have to say something about him here. So Nick Fuentes actually yesterday made a post on Twitter, which was something like, we will not allow Ben Shapiro and two other people to take those filthy people to try to fill in the void of Charlie Kirk. And
wait, haven't they been attacking everyone and attacking Erica? And like,
the funny thing is,
they also get to call the shots.
Ben Shapiro and the two other people that he mentioned, they were beloved by Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk loved those people. Charlie Kirk loved Ben Shapiro until his death. And you know what he thought of Nick Fuentes? The few times that Nick Fuentes actually came up in a question addressed to Charlie, what he thought is, his name is not even worth mentioning. He's just a troll who deserves no platform. That's what Charlie Kirk thought about Nick Fuentes. And now Nick Fuentes is trying to emerge as like the gatekeeper of who can and cannot represent Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
This guy's just a full-on grifter.
Hey, matter of fact, let's go ahead and add a few people to the new leadership board for Turning Point, the people who get to decide who carries on what. So obviously you need Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens. But we're going to have Jake Shields on there as well. Suleiman, what's the guy's name? Suleiman what? Suleiman Ahmed, you got to have him. Dr. Anastasia Lupus, or whatever her name is. And Syrian girl. Am I leaving anyone else out? Dave Smith, maybe Tucker. Tucker may be busy, but those are the people. They need to all get together and they decide what happens with Turning Point. Definitely not Erica, Kirk, and everyone who was working with Charlie.
Jake Shields decided to say a racial slur the other day, which just completely pissed me off. So I just went and attacked him. And then, of course, the words police showed up to get mad at me about this. Like, guys, I don't care anymore. If you're going to use that kind of language, I'm not going to hold back. But Jonathan Pritchard's reply here.
Well, why are you using mean words, IP?
Clutches pearls. That's funny. Clutches pearls.
I was like, guys, shut up. I don't care anymore. If you're going to go that far, I'm not taking you serious.
Don't care anymore. Wow.
Mo makes what Mike Winger look like Michael Jordan. Right, David?
That's a good one.
This is incredible. I'm actually looking through the letter right now as we speak that Charlie Kirk wrote to Benjamin Netanyahu. And what he's actually doing is he is giving Netanyahu solid advice, which Netanyahu seems to have taken recently, such as that Israel is losing the information war.
Yeah, and we've been saying that for years.
Like must abandon podium-style messaging and instead embrace short videos like TikTok, X, and things like that to target general misconceptions and lies.
Yes,
things like that. So he laid out a huge like strategic plan going forward as advice to Benjamin Netanyahu on what to do.
Which is the proof he was about to turn on Israel, and that's why they killed him. Obviously, AP, come on.
Yeah, AP.
Haven't you seen Candace Owens?
AP, which we haven't, based on what the gist you just gave, is pretty much the exact same thing we've been saying all along. They just when we went over there, they seemed oblivious to or to just not care even slightly about what's going on TikTok and X. And we're pointing out they're riling up a pretty huge crowd of online trolls coming after you, and they seem to be growing, and you need to pay attention to that. And they don't care. It seems to be built in their mindset. Look, we've got our nation. We've got our nation. We want to preserve our nation. What do we care about some people saying stuff on TikTok or Twitter? Who cares? Well, it matters. It matters because that you can get enough people and stuff. So anyway, and what's amazing here is based on what you just said. He's saying, hey, you need to start paying attention to this stuff, which is exactly what we would have said in that situation. and you need to start getting TikTok videos and stuff. But then what happens? As you just pointed out, seems that Netanyahu's taking his advice, and then he meets with some influencers to talk. And what's the response? Oh my goodness, he's trying to. It's like, what? Candace, why are you attacking Netanyahu for following Charlie Kirk's advice? Why? I mean, should he not follow Charlie Kirk's advice?
The thing is, Netanyahu just came out and invited and organized meetings with a bunch of online influencers, and specifically talked about how we must go about it differently and must make short video contents and things like that. So it seems that he actually took the advice of Charlie Kirk very seriously, which shows how much influence Charlie Kirk had and still has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The thing is, I must say that they made some mistakes again, which is just unfortunately Benjamin Netanyahu doesn't learn very much from this, because recently he just he went and hired some influencers, or he went and invited some influencers that are just altogether not appealing and are just unpopular, and I'm not sure why they keep doing that. Yes, you know,
he should invite the apostate prophet at some point to do stuff.
No, they should work with better people that will have mass appeal, you know. Anyway, they'll figure it out.
He could, if you guys have seen this super chat, it says, "Have you seen the new Matt Walsh video? I oppose mass immigration from the Arab world." That's very Islamophobic of Matt Walsh. I don't appreciate that, but no, I'm gonna check it out now. It sounds interesting for sure.
Yeah, people are messaging us yesterday that Matt Walsh has been talking about Islam lately and Dearborn, and I was thinking of just reposting some of my old stuff from Dearborn and being like, I warned you about this 16 years ago. Look what I said 16 years ago. Oh, it's exactly what's happening right now, and you guys are freaking out about it, and you called me a liar and a delusional nut job 16 years ago for saying what was going to happen. So I was thinking about just reposting some of that, but I'm thinking I'll probably just make some like big video, like recapping everything and recapping the highlights.
Speaking of Islam, we now have this shirt available on the website because you guys took way too long to make your shirts, as you said. So I made mine. So you can get a Garkid Doesn't Snitch on the website.
Very nice.
Say nice. Garkid doth not snitch.
Yeah. I wasn't going to say ain't no snitch because you said you were going to make your own shirt. And I'm like, well, I got to make my own version. And you never got around to it.
He defended
because I'm productive. I got around to it.
He defended. I was like, it's quit trying to be grammatically correct. It's Garkid ain't no snitch. And you with your, that's a double negative and stuff. And he's like, no, because that's what you guys say. So I wanted a different saying. So
exactly. So, but you can get this now on the website. I sent these two losers a version and they're not wearing them. So
I wore it the other day, actually. You didn't see that.
Excellent.
He did. He wore it in the live stream the other day.
Oh, no, I didn't see that. Excellent. No, I didn't see that.
Everyone, you can get your Garkid doesn't happen to be a snitch. Hey, if you want to do it your style, IP, you should have like a big circle and then say this is like all the snitches, and then have a dot outside of the circle and with an arrow pointing it to it and it says Garkid. And that's how you represent that graphically.
I want to get one that says the Garkid tree does not happen to reveal people's secrets.
That can be your version.
Your secrets are safe with Garkid.
Yes.
Garkid tree, yes. So, but anyway, link is below if you guys want a shirt before these guys make their versions, which will be in 2028 eventually. You never know, sometime around then. Fuentes walks into heaven. He is pissed. It's run by a Jew. Mike Winger made a video suggesting Christians should be Republican at the moment. What do you think? So, yeah, he would be pissed to find out Jesus is a Jew. That's for sure. I don't think right now. I don't know. I mean, I tend to vote Republican now, especially the past couple of years, seeing how far the left has gone. I'm not going to hide that at all. Especially on things like pro-life and transgender issues. And I was in the Libertarian Party for a couple of years. I voted Libertarian in 2012 and 2016 because I was just so done with the Republicans. But then I started to come back after a while.
Then Trump came along and he's like, yes, now I have my hero.
Sure. But I mean, that's I'm not sure. I'd have to watch the video to comment more on that.
Yeah, I'm not even allowed to vote, so I don't care about your little parties, everyone. Care about your little parties. They don't involve me.
That's true. Why don't I keep hearing crickets? Why do I hear crickets?
Because I have a pet cricket.
Oh,
what's his name? Herbert or something like that?
Herbert, yeah.
Herbert the cricket.
Is it that insane that I feel kind of like leftists are closeted groypers? I think Nick is kind of funny, I guess, but he gives me the creeps. He gives everyone the creeps.
Nick is complete. Nick is hilarious. Just to be clear, Nick is hilarious. That's part of that. Yeah. That actually makes people dangerous. It's like intelligence and charisma and being funny and combining that with a bunch of evil, deranged conspiracy nonsense. It's actually a bad combination. It's a dangerous combination.
Yeah. I mean, he's not a good guy. Look at this clip.
I want to drink it straight from the tap. I want it raw. I don't want to wait a moment. Right when the milk is good, I want to start drinking the milk. Same thing goes with women. I don't want to turn 30 and find some 20-year-old, 29-year-old woman that I have something in common with. And it's like, hey, properly aged like wine. Women don't age like wine, they age like milk. They don't age like wine. That's not how their hormones work. That's not how they work. Yeah, I gotta find my 16-year-old wife. Probably when I turn 30 or something. Because here's the thing, I don't want to be like, let's say I get married to a 18-year-old now. 6-year age difference. When I turn 40, she's going to be 34.
This is exactly how an incel thinks, man.
This is exactly what a gay man says. A gay man who doesn't want to reveal that he's gay, but wants to explain why he's not getting married. That's exactly what he sounds like.
Mm-hmm. So it's also promoting child marriage, which is incredibly evil. 16-year-olds are not fully mentally developed to be able to engage in marriage, as I've been able to do all the research on. So it's pretty disgusting behavior. And yeah, it makes me question a lot of his attraction issues.
Yeah. And I mean, just think about this. All his little Groiper fans and stuff.
No, he's right. We got to get these 15, 16-year-old when we're 30. And so we can be cool like Nick Fuentes.
You bunch of freaking losers, man.
Exactly.
But to be fair, for Islamic standards, is still pretty good. So.
That is true. That is true. It's better. It's far better than what Muhammad did.
Yeah. Yeah. Daniel Hakikachu would be like, what? 16-year-old. So you're interested in grandmothers? That's too old.
Charlie's letter to BB apparently got released, and in a heartbreaking move, it seems Megyn Kelly doesn't believe it. She sends people to an old episode. So already they're calling it into question because we know that.
Yeah. I mean, unless someone reveals the letter and it says, oh, Netanyahu, I'm no longer falling for you for what you say, and I'm turning against Israel. And if you have a problem with that, then why don't you just get a 22-year-old to shoot me? Unless it says that, they're going to say it's fake.
It's so stupid because the letter is actually like the letter can be taken as very patronizing, you know. So he's basically educating Israel and Israel's prime minister on how to do their job properly in the letter. So it would be very weird for them to make this up.
Thank you for gifting 50 Inspiring Philosophy memberships, Mohammed Mahdi. Much appreciated. There is a rumor that Destiny and Nick Fuentes had their own Al-Zuk movement together. Gross. Completely gross and disgusting.
I've seen those rumors.
I've seen them too. Yeah. All right, let me play some PBD of the podcast before we get to more super chats, because this was a little interesting. I was pretty impressed with how Patrick pressed him on a lot of things. Here's a really good example, for example.
Wait, not pressing him in the zoot sense, right?
That's true. Not pressing him in the zoot sense, yes.
All right.
Between the two communities, Muslim and Jews, which one concerns you more?
Jews, for sure.
Tell me why.
More powerful. They're more powerful.
So more powerful.
Hey, and isn't it interesting? It's like Jews, because think about this, guys, for everyone who doesn't know the numbers, okay? You got about 2 billion Muslims in the world, and a lot of them are peaceful. You have a lot of diversity and so on, but they do have allegiance to a prophet who calls for the violent subjugation of the entire world. So people who are taking that seriously, there's still a lot of people. You have 2 billion people, and a fraction of them are taking Muhammad's command seriously. That's a lot of people still planning to violently subjugate the entire world. And so what possible basis could you have for saying Jews are more dangerous, Jews are a bigger threat? Well, they just have more power. And this is where the delusion comes in. It's like Jews control the media, Jews control all the governments, Jews control everything. It's like, really? Jews control social media where you guys spend every waking moment whining about Jews, and Jews control the media who spend every waking moment attacking Israel? It's like, let me put it this way. If Nick Fuentes is right and Jews are controlling all this and they're using their immense power to turn as many people against themselves as possible, why would you think they're dangerous? They seem to be like idiotically incompetent. If they're using all this power that they wield, they control the governments, they control the politicians, they control the journalists, they control the educators, they control the entertainers, they control all of them, and they use all of this to turn everyone against them and to turn people into Hamas supporters. I was like, really? Those are the guys you're scared of?
So far, it's also pretty bad reasoning. I mean, because they're more powerful. Okay, so what?
Yes, it doesn't mean necessarily they're bad. They don't have a religion that literally says you violently subjugate the world. I mean, again, Islam divides everything into the house of Islam and the house of war. It is a religion committed to the subjugation and putting everything under Islam. This is what Sheikh Uthman was recently saying, that Islam is going to take over everything. Asam al-Hakim, I believe, as well, was saying it a little while ago, that Islam is eventually going to dominate. They're going to be powerful enough, and they're going to go to every house, every country, and say, you can either convert to Islam, become our dhimmis, or die and your women and children become slaves. I don't remember Jews going around saying the exact same thing. This doesn't make any sense. And if you look at the total global wealth of Muslims, it's around $11 trillion. The total global wealth of Jews around the world, $2 trillion. Now, it is impressive considering there are far less Jews than Muslims, but in terms of power, population, control of land, Muslims have a ton more. They also have a ton more access to oil, which is a wealth generator for a lot of these Muslim countries. So I'd like to see his actual numbers to state that Jews actually have more power. I don't think
it's also, I mean, he's referring to power in America at the moment. It is probably true that Jews have more power in America than Muslims do. However, Muslims have a rapidly growing number in America as opposed to Jews. So this influx of Muslims and the growth of Muslims will probably lead to Muslims taking more and more power and being eventually more powerful. And considering that their ideology is significantly more hostile and significantly more subversive, you should be worried about that more. I don't know, unless you have some really, really serious reasons to be concerned about Jews. And I'm pretty sure if we go on and ask him about the reasons why he is concerned about Jewish power, we will start hearing a bunch of idiotic conspiracy theories.
Well, also, if you look at like the top countries currently investing money to lobby the United States, China is at top, followed by Japan, then Liberia, South Korea, then Saudi Arabia, followed by the Marshall Islands, Qatar, UAE, Bahamas, and then Israel is number 10. I mean, there's a lot more Muslim countries on this list than Jewish ones, and they're higher up than Israel. So,
and it's you see the same thing with like contributions to colleges and stuff like this. It's overwhelmingly places like Qatar and so on. And yet, I mean, any random Israeli who hands $1 to anyone, it's, you see, this is the proof.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, like a lot of the Arab countries like Saudi Arabia and UAE and Qatar are investing heavily in pushing their goals, pushing their ideology, because they have a lot of oil money. So they're able to do that. That should be far more terrifying than anything coming out of Judaism. And again, I think a lot of the Jews that people complain about are more motivated by secular atheism than anything else. It's not like Orthodox Jews are the ones that these guys are always attacking. They tend to be secular atheists that just happen to be from a Jewish background. So I don't know if that necessarily follows even.
Powerful.
But we'll get back to this.
In a way, you're talking the fact that they have money, finance, Hollywood. Is that what you're
yeah, they have more position in American society.
And how do you think they got that?
I think they got it because they are
by drinking the blood of Christian babies.
Transnational entity. You know, this is how the Rothschilds got started. Their superpower is that they live everywhere, and they have their Jewish identity supersedes their local identity. So a Jewish person in America.
That's not how they started. That's not how the Rothschild family got wealthy. What literally happened with them is that they lived as a minority among themselves, usually isolated by will or by force in Western nations, where they were not even allowed to properly participate
Right.
in the general business and the general occupations that people had in their daily lives. They were not allowed to participate in the average jobs. They were not allowed to own lands in specific places. They were usually confined to their own areas and all that, to their own neighborhoods, to their own places. So they isolated themselves. They were therefore usually affected differently when countries experience difficulties. When, for example, they lived in Poland, and Poland had extensive periods of war, the Jewish population, because they were ostracized and because they were isolated, were not as impacted by the economic hardship as the rest of the population was. So they had the ability to accumulate wealth and to continue living as if there really was no war going on, which is what made it easier for them to accumulate more money. They worked together very nice, and they happened to be very conscientious people compared to the others that were more busy with religious wars and the daily lives and all that. So when they had the ability to establish a lot of wealth, it just so happened that they ended up, after war times, for example, to have significantly more wealth than the average population, which caused the average population to ask them for money, for example, which caused the Jews to establish financial businesses and say, okay, all right, we have money, here, you can have it, and you can pay us back in increments. That often ended up with the Jews being eventually kicked out or killed because those who borrowed money weren't able to pay it back anymore, and so on. But basically, that's how it usually happened.
And also, for the longest time, the Catholic Church outlawed usury, loaning with interest, so that was outlawed for Christians. But you know who could loan with interest? The Jews who lived in Europe. So who ended up taking over a lot of the banking systems because the Catholics specifically outlawed usury? Jews. And so they gained a lot of wealth that way, controlling a lot of the banking systems. When Protestants came onto the scene, they started to allow usury, but the Jews were already pretty far ahead. So you want to blame the wealth of the Jews on someone? It has a lot to do with what Catholic Europe was doing many centuries ago. It's not some sort of evil cabal at work behind the scenes. It was just a natural result of an entire area outlawing usury for many centuries.
Yep, we got breaking news on an unrelated topic here, but it's breaking news. Trump scores $24.5 million YouTube settlement over account suspension dispute.
Wow.
The President Donald Trump has won a $24.5 million settlement from YouTube over the platform's suspension of his account following the January 6, 2021 Capitol riots. The Alphabet-owned company is the last of the three major social media platforms sued by Trump alongside Meta and Twitter, now called X, to resolve claims tied to his removal. According to a court filing obtained by Fox News Digital, $22 million of the settlement will be contributed on Trump's behalf to the Trust for the National Mall, a nonprofit supporting construction of a new White House state ballroom. So it's going into construction of a new White House ballroom. And if you're sitting there going, well, I don't care. Well, it's good when social media companies shut you down and someone sues them and wins, and that convinces them to maybe not ban you in the future. That's good.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Another thing to add to what you just said, IP, the Old Testament, aka the Hebrew Bible, the Jewish Bible, explicitly allows usury for. So it forbids usury for your brethren, to the Israelites in Deuteronomy, but explicitly allows usury for the Gentiles, which is Jewish law. So some people go around and say, "Oh, look, Jews are evil. They do this. They don't take usury from each other, but they take it from Gentiles." The same people proclaim to be Christians. I'm sorry, but this is directly from the Bible. It is directly in Deuteronomy. So if Jews go by the law of the Torah, it is allowed for them to take usury from Gentiles, but not from Jews. So it was convenient and also within their law and their moral system to do that.
You're only saying that because Mossad pays you. Obviously.
Exactly.
You inserted that into Deuteronomy using your time machine after when Mossad gave you the bags of gold you got in Israel. Obviously.
Yes.
All right. Makes sense. Yes.
Yes.
Germany or in France or in the UK, they can all talk to each other and work together.
Do you
And
think that's a bad thing?
not in and of itself. It is detrimental for America, though.
Is it detrimental though? Because
yes, America's going to collapse because
I'm a
Jews.
Syrian, right?
Yep. Exactly.
And I wish Assyrians were more like this.
Mhm.
And let me tell you why I relate to them. We don't have a country. Assyrians used to have a country. We used to be the first warriors. We were written about in the Bible. You read it all over the place. You know, the history we had, the things we invented. And then we became a little cocky. And God came in and was like, listen, man, relax, Assyrians. You ain't going to come and be the king of the jungle. It's me. And you hear the stories about that they built the tower to go all the way to the top because we are Assyrians and, and then we failed. It's like, no, look at you now. No one knows who Assyrians are. You don't even have a country, right? We know the land in Iraq or wherever you are. You don't have it anymore. I think when a community becomes too cocky, the man upstairs is going to handle that himself, right? But in a sense, when you see they went from a small community to have this much influence, isn't that almost impossible for them to pull off? Like, isn't that? So it either produces one of two things. I'm not intimidated. I'm not a guy that is envious or jealous or, oh my God, that guy's richer than me. That guy's this guy's. I'm not.
Well,
I want to see what they did and what
Nick and all his followers are exactly that. That's exactly what they are.
Mm-hmm.
To me, when I think about Jews, I think about Mormons. I think about Scientologists. I used to have an office where half the office was all Scientology, and I learned all these phrases: assist, or I went to their church and so Dianetics and L. Ron Hubbard and what he would say when you get a headache, you do this and all these weird X. I'm like, oh, interesting. How much money did we give? $200,000 off. Why'd you give that? But let me tell you, those guys that were in, they had each other's back. It was a fraternity that you wish family members were like this, right? I think Scientologists have it maybe more than Jews. So I think Jews will bite each other a little bit, not as much. And then Mormons have each other's back. Of course, there's a falling out as well where people come out and they'll talk about God makers or, what Gordon B. Hinckley. And I've read all of that stuff. Over the years.
I would say that Mormons have each other's back significantly more than Jews do.
Yeah.
Jews have a lot of friction.
But no one has someone's back like the Al-Zut had Muhammad's back.
That's true.
What's wrong with them winning at the highest level?
Well, I agree with you that it's
because it makes me feel like a
remarkable, and it is
pathetic
actually
dork.
ominous how much they've achieved. Here's the problem, though. America's an open society. The premise of this country is it's self-government, of, by, for the people. There's a slight egalitarian idea that we are all citizens, and our government is going to be comprised of the citizenry of America. That's deeply embedded in who we are and in our government and our whole system. And take me, for example, I'm Italian, Mexican, and Irish. The Italians were very much like this when they immigrated to America. They had in Chicago what they called the outfit, which was the mafia, and they looked out for each other. And when my grandfather died on my mom's side, I believe my grandmother got a loan from the outfit. And they would come by every month or whatever, and they'd bring a fruit basket and they'd look after her and they provided.
Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're getting to the bottom of things. The mafia controls Nick Fuentes.
Exactly.
The mafia, we just heard it from his own. He just spelled it out for us. His family owes a bunch of money to the mafia, and the mafia decided, hey, we got the Jews and we're in competition with them, and the Italians cannot be subordinate to the Jews, so we need you, Nick Fuentes, as part of this arrangement, since you still owe us the money that your grandma borrowed from us. you're going to spend every waking moment crying about Jews and pretending to luster after his 16-year-olds to throw people off the trail of what you're really after.
And look at his tiny little boy, man. Tiny little gay boy.
That's the only logical explanation, given this connection here. Using the typical Groyper logic, that must mean that he is controlled by the mafia. Yes,
tiny little gay boy.
Of it, or was it Tony Sparrow?
I don't know who it was specifically.
Okay, got it.
But so these are some of the stories I would hear growing up from my mom and my grandmother.
So think about at that time, how many people were against Italians? At that time, how many people didn't like Italians in New York? Because Bank of America was first called Bank of Italy. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
So can you pull up, Rob? Was Bank of America first Bank of Italy? If I'm wrong, it is what it is. I think Bank of America was originally Bank of Italy. And everybody used to, yes, the Bank of America was originally founded in Bank of Italy in 1904 to an Italian-American in San Francisco and the financial needs of Italian immigrants and other underserved people. The bank eventually merged with another institution to form Bank of America and change.
Oh, my goodness. This is,
right?
Hey, hang on. Hey, is everyone catching this? So the Italians come in there with their mafia and they start a bank. And then people are catching on. Wait a minute. This sounds like a mafia front. You're calling it Bank of Italy. Why don't you just call it Bank of Don Corleone while you're at it? They catch on, and then they rename it Bank of America to trick and dupe people.
To hide their Italianness.
And in order to throw people off even further, they force people like Nick Fuentes to blame the Jews for everything. So everyone's going, oh, it's the Jews who are controlling all this, when it's the mafia.
It's the Italians, really, that are behind all of this.
Freaking Italian.
It's all coming together now at this point, ladies and gentlemen. I just want you all to see who's really controlling America.
So hang on. So Nick Fuentes just mentioned that he's Italian, Irish, and Mexican. Did he just say that? So
yes.
On the one hand, you have Italians who literally come and establish the banking system and also run the mafia and run so much dirt behind the scenes. On the other hand, part of him is Irish. Almost every single president has Irish ancestry. Irish people are full of a lot of places that are significant, that are important. A lot of financial companies, a lot of banks are actually owned and ran by Irish people in America. Many people don't know this. The Irish people are very, very powerful in America. So he has the Italian aspect and the Irish aspect. And now he has the infiltrating Mexican aspect.
Yep, the cartels.
And he's perfectly covering this up by blaming the Jews.
And I also like to point out, we still haven't seen why they're scarier than the Muslim invasion or the Muslims' attempt to subjugate and conquer the world.
Now I'm terrified of the Groypers. Apparently, they're part of this cartel and mafia and potato-eating Irish person, all rolled up into one, trying to take over the U.S. and pointing a finger at the Jews so we don't understand their plot.
Exactly.
And by the way, keep in mind, this is a guy who's actually obsessed with taking over the country and getting rid of Jews. Yes. So think we're not on to you, Nick.
First, we're Italians. They would give small little loans, $10, $4, $5 to them. And some people were not supportive of that. They're like, what are Italian immigrants doing here? You guys are becoming too much power in New York. We're not happy about this. So there was some of that going on 100 years ago.
And that's what I'm saying is that did exist. And then what happened eventually is that Italians assimilated. Eventually, these groups, these ethnic advocacy groups were broken up, if you could call the outfit that, or the mob of New York. And then Italians assimilated. And when I grew up, I saw myself as American. I didn't see myself as Italian American. I just saw myself as American. And I think that, when you see Jewish people working together, I don't think there's anything wrong with that inherently. And I agree with you. It's like a superpower. It's actually admirable in some ways. They look out for each other. But if society becomes, American society in particular, a place where every group is ganging up, well, we're the whites, we're the blacks, we're the Jews, then I think what America is starts to come apart, and it turns into kind of like a bit of a politicized race war.
Nick, that's literally what you want to do. That's literally what
it's going to be
Nick
a
wants to do.
race war.
It's so dumb.
Hey.
First off, there's a huge misconception here. This is just so dumb, and there's a misconception that arises from not understanding how Jews are, how Jews function, how Jews work. It also arises from the conspiracy theories that he pushes all the time. We just listened yesterday to Dennis Prager, for example, who was very, very nicely making this clear for people. But the idea that Jews are, they just really overstated it here as well. PBD also kind of overstated it. The idea that Jews are so, so looking out for each other and supporting each other in everything and all that, it's just, it's nonsense. Yes, there are some Jewish communities. Yes, there are some Jews who look out for each other. Yes, there were some businesses like Hollywood, for example, where Jews happened to hire each other and so on, which, by the way, was a very unique case in terms of Hollywood. A lot of Jews found themselves going westward, and it was generally understood among them that Jews are not welcomed in regular occupations and regular businesses, especially in those countries that they came from. So when they established successful businesses in movie making, for example, it was very much understood, hey, let's just hire other Jews. We have a lot of Jewish neighbors. We have a lot of Jewish friends, a lot of Jewish family members. Let's hire them. So that's usually how it developed. This is not a very common, not a universal thing. Jews are not out there all looking out for each other. Most Jews don't care about each other. Most Jews don't know each other. The Jewish population in America is very diverse in terms of the Orthodox religious Jewish community, the modern Orthodox Jewish community, the conservative Jewish community, the secular Jewish community. These groups generally do not interact with each other very much, do not work with each other very much. And when it comes to secular Jews, those among each other also don't really work with each other very much. It's just, this is all so nonsensical. You have this much collaboration only among some people like the Mormons, for example. You don't really have this among Jews.
Yeah, no, I mean, think about this. I mean, just think, like, if you had this kind of obsession with looking at a different group and going, hey, they're working together. I mean, how many black people who work with a bunch of black people and try to support each other and try to support their community, how many people could you point to like that? A ton. If you pointed to white people who work with a bunch of other white people and so on, how many people could you point to like that? A ton. But if a Jew's doing it, then look, that Jew's working with that Jew. You see this? Oh my goodness, there's this big conspiracy here. But yeah, so AP, you went in one direction with that. IP went in a different direction. Also really important. You have Nick Fuentes sitting there going, and I mean, think about this. If everyone's considering themselves like part of this racial or ethnic group, then America's just divided. Uh-huh. And what's your takeaway, Nick? Therefore, we need a white Catholic nation where we all unite as white Catholics and get rid of everybody else. What?
Yeah.
Wait, so you just want to be more extreme than the Jews that you imagine? Well, our group, every other group has to, we just got to get rid of them.
Well, also, like, Jews don't want to assimilate. Of course they want to assimilate. They've done a very, very good job assimilating. They're just not Christian. Yeah, they should become Christian. I wish they would all become Christian, but they haven't. They assimilate far better than Muslims do. They assimilate quite well. So I don't know what he's talking about here. If they're not assimilating, it's because we're not letting them assimilate. We're trying to keep them other, and because with the recent rise of anti-Semitism, they're not gonna want to assimilate in our society. They're gonna want to do what the Italians were doing when they first came to America: stick to their own communities, keep to themselves, because they're not trusted by outsiders. Everyone hates and rejects them. The more anti-Semitic we are, Nick, the less they're going to want to assimilate. You're creating the very problem you claim is a problem. Mm-hmm. Like, what are you talking about here? It's absolutely absurd. It's absurd.
No, you're right. As far as like creating the problem that you're pretending to address. I mean, think if Nick Fuentes and Jake Shields and all these guys, they rile up a bunch of hate against Jews, which makes Jews kind of feel like, okay, we're kind of on our own against all these people who hate us. And therefore what? Therefore, we kind of need to make sure we're watching each other's backs at all time, because we got a bunch of people who can just apparently flip on us at any moment and start calling for us to be wiped out and so on. But IP, this was a while back, but me and AP were watching videos, and it was when we were going through some Douglas Murray clips, and Douglas Murray actually summed it up well. He said, when the Jews were poor, we hated them for being poor. And then when they became rich, we hated them for being rich. When they didn't integrate, we hated them for not integrating. When they integrated, then we hated them for integrating. When they had no state, we hated them for having no state. And now that they have a state, we hate them for having a state. He's pointing out that it doesn't matter what they do. Guys like Nick just hate them no matter what. And then whatever they're doing at any given moment, you hate them for that. And then they can turn around and do the exact opposite, and you'll hate them for that. It's
you know what I don't understand? I don't understand how it happens that I guess we mentioned Nick Fuentes is mentioned in the title, and that's how they flock. I don't know, but there are so many gropers in the chat that are here just like, debate Nick Fuentes. Why don't you debate him?
Okay.
Why do you only talk about him? Why don't you talk to him? And so I was wondering,
we all accept
if he sends people or something. No, but they just turn up. It might just be him. It might be just a bot farm or something. But it's just the regular response. It's like, oh, he's not obsessed with Jews. Why are you obsessed with him? You are secret Jews. Why don't you debate him? That these low IQ things, just listen a little bit. Stop being idiotic. Stop being.
I'll debate Nick on which is more of a threat, Islam or Judaism.
He won't debate anybody, and he won't. This is the funny thing, gropers, Nick fans, gropers. You come here and say, debate Nick Fuentes. He doesn't debate anybody. He does not debate anybody. What are you guys talking about? You follow a man-child who doesn't debate anybody because he knows that he will lose when he talks about certain things. I would like to debate him, for example, about the Holocaust. Will he ever do that? I guarantee you he will not do it. Never. He will never do it. So stop talking.
You ever hear about the NDE visions of people seeing demons forcing Michael Jackson to do the moonwalk over hot brimstone in hell? Yeah, that's crazy nonsense. I have a hard time believing
no, I must have missed that one.
Yeah. Do you think the genealogy in Luke is Mary's bloodline, or is it Joseph's through adoption? I think Luke is Mary's line, and in Matthew, it is Joseph's. Why does the academic I guess you mean academia hate you so much? Did you insult their moms? Actually, go to Deep Drinks. Deep Drinks podcast. That's an atheist podcast. When I was in Australia, I met him in person. He had me on. His theory was why a lot of these guys hate me so much is because I do a lot of the same stuff they do, but I don't come to the same conclusions as they do. So I'll debunk nonsense, come across as like a skeptic. And this is not coming from me. This is Deep Drinks. And then they like that, but then they don't like that I'm coming to the conclusions of Christianity. So I have a different conclusion. I use a lot of different evidence and academic articles and books to support my case, which upsets them. So yeah, that was an interesting take, I'd say. IP, why did you kill the young prophet? Well, why did God kill the young prophet in 1 Kings 13 for what he was tricked into believing? He was lied to by the older prophet, yet was blamed. I don't remember that passage. What are you talking about? So 1 Kings 13 is a man confronts Jeroboam. I'd have to look into this. You need to give me the exact references. It's a prophet's disobedience. Is that the passage you're talking about? I don't know. I will look into that, and maybe I'll do a separate video on it at some point. I'm not sure. I have to look at some commentaries. Since AP is now best friends with Winger, pass IP his number. He clearly needs lessons from a professional Minecrafter. Yes, I'm clearly a professional Minecrafter. I did it once, and it was awful. Awful. Matt Walsh is a blessing to hear right now. I have a dark internal fear of becoming property again as an ex-Muslim woman. Don't ever stop talking. Don't worry. We will never stop talking about the evils of Islam to protect women like you. We find that stuff atrocious and evil. I'm going to do a video probably early in 2026 called How Islam Harms Women, because I got a lot of good research on that I want to present. Nick and Momo have something in common. Very true. Very true. Just found AP means al-Zutting philosophy.
That's true.
This is true. Yes. Glad you caught up. Why is Mike Winger here? He's worse than Hitler. That is true. Why is he worse than Hitler, David?
He's right here.
So. He's more evil.
Yes. Herbert the Cricker is the best of Quran reciters. This is also true. Absolutely. Or maybe he's just joking. The clip is old. He says stuff again like that nowadays. Listen, anytime you bring up a clip from Nick, some groper shows up in the comment section and be like, oh, he was just making a joke. How come you don't get his joke? We know what you guys are doing. You're just claiming everything he says is a joke. So he's basically just a really crappy comedian at this point. I mean, so don't take anything he says seriously because he's just always joking. Great. All his political takes are a joke. That's what you're always saying. Got it.
He actually did a little bit on that. There is a clip. He did this during one of his live shows where he said that when you talk about some serious issues, such as the Holocaust, for example, you have to make it a little bit ambiguous and have to mix it with jokes so that when people ask you about it, you can say it was just a joke.
Yeah. No, I thought that's what he was doing, because I've seen clips where he's saying stuff and then he'll clearly say something that's completely absurd and ridiculous. And it's like, oh, you're doing this so that if you ever got called on it, you can say, well, look, here's me saying something that's obviously ridiculous and it's really silly. So I was clearly joking. So you can't pin me down on anything. Definitely not the way y'all pinned Muhammad down.
Exactly. Why is Diddy here? I don't know who is supposed to be Diddy. I don't know. Why won't you be at ApologetiCon 2026? I'll try to be there. James hasn't even set that one up yet. He's trying to set up the one in November, which I'm going to be there for. So there. Mike, please don't silence the cricket. Peace be upon him. He is adding lots of good commentary on the clips. This is true. Absolutely.
Wait, did they say ApologetiCon? That's not DebateCon, man.
Oh, I misread that. Sorry. I'm supposed to be there. What are you talking about? I should be there. I'll be there. What are you talking about? Freaking crazy. Were Martin Luther, Henry Ford, Ezra Pound, and Bobby Fischer low IQ anti-Semites?
Martin Luther, yes.
I mean, like,
it's funny. Nick Fuentes actually recently said that some people are low IQ anti-Semites.
That's true. Candace Owens.
Was he referring to her? Was it her? Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So even he says that,
Yeah. David, AP has the pet cricket to answer your super chat. I think that Groyper's beliefs are alien compared to moderate conservatives. The sociological data about in-group unity between left and right shows the left is significantly less fragmented. Not sure what I'm supposed to do with that, but yeah, appreciate the super chat. Nick Fuentard is supposedly America first and speaks out against Jews, but his schizo babbling ironically betrays Jews as godlike. Suspicious? Maybe he was hired by Mossad to make the Jews more scary and that no one would mess with them. No one's ever thought about that.
Oh, we're almost at 1 hour. So Israel is paying us $5,000 per hour for this stream. So almost an hour full.
They only pay in bags of gold. This is why AP is going to Israel soon to get our gold for us.
Yeah, but they said only up to 3 hours they will pay us, right?
That's true. Only up to 3 hours.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah, stop lying though, IP. They also pay us in shekels.
That's true. Since when did Mike start streaming with Mike Winger and Candace Owen? He must have been paid by George Soros in Israel. Very true.
Her name is Candace Owens. Respect her.
Hey, AP.
What?
AP, when you go to Israel, bring me back some shekels so I have more shekels to flash in situations like this.
I shall.
I just had some leftover shekels in my wallet, but it's not enough. It's not enough to like flash and be like, yeah, I'm getting paid the shekels.
Did you see Mike Winger saying on a stream today that he thought about throwing a rock at the president? Winglings are truly shameless. Powerful, powerful. I have no idea what you're referring to, but appreciate it. Imagine Nick Fuentes discovering he's part Jewish. That would be hilarious. That'd be national news.
Fuentes. Nick Fuentes.
I've always found the stereotypes of Irish people loving potatoes funny because potatoes aren't even native to Europe. They're right. That's right. They're from Peru. They didn't become part of the European diet to about the 16th or 17th century. That's true. Yeah, they were from Peru. But they're pretty awesome.
Took off pretty well in Ireland, though, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. Reminder, Fuentes and the Groypers do not represent Catholicism. Man needs Jesus. God bless. Yes, absolutely true.
That is true. Very, very true.
Yeah. Speaking of Fuentes.
And I think that you either have to have a society where everybody gets to play by those rules and everybody could be pro what they are, or everybody is assimilated and we're all Americans. And that's why I say it's detrimental, is that if Jewish people are Jewish first, not of, by, and for America, but of, by, and for the Jewish nation, this is problematic when they're in positions of power, because are they looking out for all of us, or are they looking out for themselves first? And when you look at the Israel policy, that's where people start to say, I think you're looking out for yourselves first. I think you're biased. And unfortunately, you're using the public purse
David,
and American soldiers to fight your own battles. And that's the problem. It's not,
David,
I don't have hatred.
Would you say you are American first or Christian first?
Christian first.
Christian first.
IP, would you say you're American first or Christian first?
Christian first, yes.
If I ask most religious, sincere, devout Christians, would they say that they are American first or Christian first?
Christian first.
So what's the problem?
Yeah, and so I mean, think about his like stupid reasoning here. It's basically what he's really saying is, if you're a Jew, then if you have any sort of solidarity with your fellow Jews, you probably have an interest in preserving the one Jewish state, insofar as you're able. One, there's no inconsistency between being red, white, and blue-blooded American and being conservative. How do you know that? Why? Because you have tons of just conservatives who aren't Jewish who are also interested in making sure that Israel isn't wiped out or something like that. So anyway, this just seems to be over and over and over again. I mean, guess what? If you're let's say German or something like that, and you move to the United States and you have a German background, your parents were German and stuff, and you see Germany being overrun by Muslims or something like that, could you legitimately be concerned and say, hey, I don't want Germany overrun by Muslims? Like what? You have to stop being concerned about the group you came from because you moved to another place, and therefore you're not allowed to be like concerned about them anymore. I don't know. It's just weird and stupid.
Well, I mean, let's take that analogy even further. I mean, think about people that are Taiwanese and live in America. They are concerned about preserving Taiwan as a nation and keeping it safe from China. Guess what? The U.S. also has a vested interest in keeping Taiwan an independent nation because of the chip manufacturing and because it keeps China contained. China has no major access to the Pacific Ocean in terms of land because they're surrounded by American allies, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Philippines, even Vietnam as well. If they gain access to Taiwan, they get a major area of that coastal area to start projecting more power into the Pacific. Taiwanese Americans have a vested interest in keeping Taiwan an independent nation. So do actual Americans, because the biggest rival, China, is being contained, and Taiwan is an integral part of that. Do we go after Taiwanese Americans for promoting Taiwanese sovereignty and saying we should invest in Taiwan and protect them? Same with South Koreans or Japanese. No. Why is it always the Jews? When it comes to Israel, I will make the case America has a vested interest in keeping Israel a sovereign nation in the Middle East. 1683, the Muslim caliphate of the Ottoman Empire was at the gates of Vienna, and luckily Europe turned them back and started to turn the tide against the Islamic invasion that had been attacking Europe for centuries.
You can't tell that story without giving all the credit to Poland's king Jan III.
This is true. It was the Polish-Lithuanian alliance that came in and definitely saved Vienna for sure, absolutely. But we should never, as the West, want to see another Islamic caliphate. We should do everything we can to make sure that doesn't happen. Having Israel there, which is a non-Muslim nation in the middle of the Muslim heartland, keeps a lot of the vested interest in the Islamic world on Israel and not on Iberia or Greece or the Balkans, lands that that Europe had taken back from the Islamic world. It's another vested interest in terms of keeping a lot of these terrorist organizations focused on that and not the West, for example. I'm not saying it's a perfect plan. I'm not saying that's necessarily moral. I'm saying it's pragmatic in terms of the West's policies. Another fact is that Israel is actually a haven for technology like desalination and other aspects, which the West does benefit from. So there are vested interests in keeping Israel a sovereign nation. I would say, honestly, preventing the West's largest rival for the 1400 years, the Islamic world, divided and focused on Israel and not nations is a vested interest that the West has. So you can make a pragmatic case that the West should invest in Israel the same way it invests in Taiwan, keeping a big rival in check, the Islamic world, for example. Like Taiwan is a good invested interest in keeping China in check. These are things that need to be considered when you're looking at geopolitics, which a lot of the Groypers have not even considered. Go back and study history. Who has been the group that has been attacking and pillaging and raping Europe the most? It was invaders from the Islamic world. Look up what the Almohad.
It was Jews.
No, look at the Deb Shermi policy of the Ottomans. The Ottomans would raid the Balkans, take Christian boys back, forcibly convert them to Islam, and then raise them, brainwash them, and then send them back into the Balkans.
Yes.
Through the process. It was incredibly evil. We should be doing everything we can to make sure that the West is never under the power or less powerful than the Islamic world or some Islamic power because of the history. He who does not know history is doomed to repeat it. And the last thing we want to do is repeat that history. Having Israel, which is kind of like a satellite Western nation right now, there. Would it be better if it was a Christian nation? Absolutely. But it is what it is. And we should work with what we have to make sure that the Islamic world stays divided and focused on Israel, and investing in Israel to do that, I think, has a long-term benefits. And plus, Mossad is very effective at doing what they do. Look at the pager incident from a couple months ago or a year or so ago. I mean, like, that was pretty genius. I mean, I'm glad. I'd rather be again, I would much rather them not be on the Islamic side. All of Nick Fuentes' fans are in the chat going, Jewbots, you see? This is the proof. Yes, absolutely.
Hey, do you want me to clean out the chat a little bit?
Why? It's hilarious.
Okay, fine.
I don't care what they do. They're just whining and ranting. What are they going to do?
For them, I don't have a problem with them in themselves or even what they do. It's just that with our system, that doesn't work.
You know what I would say to that as well?
Real quick, once again, let me just reiterate. He says, Marvin says, go debate him. Okay, yeah. Well, I'll debate.
He literally, what, 10 minutes ago agreed to debate Nick Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes will not debate. Stop asking.
So Marvin, I mean, this reminds me of when they'd say, "Well, you're saying this? Why don't you debate Zakir Naik?" As if Zakir Naik is willing to debate. Like, what planet do you guys live on that all these guys are waiting to debate, but no one is willing to
They're
debate?
just like Muslims. The Gropers are just like Muslims.
The Gropers, no wonder they love Muslims so much. They act exactly like them.
Yeah. Again, I'll debate Nick on which is more of a threat to the West, Christianity or Judaism or Islam. I'll argue that it is Islam. He said the Jews are more of a threat in this interview because they have more power. So let's have that debate.
You know, if they use the American soldiers in their advantage and all that other stuff. Okay. Who negotiated that deal? Some president negotiated that deal. Someone said yes to it, right? When they say, well, let me tell you, you know, that person is afraid to platform this guy because he's afraid his donors are going to go and do this. And it's Israel's fault. No, it's not. It's the guy who runs it's not Israel's fault. What are you talking about? You know, this guy sends me a message, APAC. I got a text, not a text. What do you call it in the X? A DM I get from APAC. Okay. Hey, we'd like you to come to Israel. We'd like to invite you. I'm sure many people get that message, right? They send it. I said, I'm going to come with my pastor. I don't want you to pay for it. I'm going to pay for it. I want to bring my crew because I want to go see Jerusalem. You're not going to see me putting the what do they call it? I'm not going to put that on. But guess what? I respect the culture, and I want to go to Gaza, and I would ask for some idea of protection that if we can go to Gaza, show it to her. I want to see this stuff. I want to go with my pastor. First time around, I'm not going to take my kids. Maybe the second, third time, I'll take my kids. But to me, I don't put the onus on, like when a guy's like, that guy has slept with so many people, this, and the girl said yes. No, but you don't understand. He's a man whore. But the girl said yes. So is it Israel or is it the girl? You understand what point I'm trying to make here?
Absolutely.
So to me, it's kind of like, I mean, look, if you said Israel over Muslims, right?
It's an absolutely horrible analogy.
Which should
I agree. It was
just like Andrew Tate. I mean, what?
That's absolutely horribly.
Is it Andrew Tate's fault, or is it all the women who agreed to do the webcam for him? It's them.
Like PBD needs to stop with these analogies. That was absolutely horrible.
It's just like porn. It's just like porn. You know, the guy, he's banging all the porn girls, but they agreed to get banged. So why are you pointing at him?
It's a horrible analogy because a lot of the times women are manipulated and controlled and brainwashed in those situations. It's not the same for nation states when they're making these kind of deals because they have mutual benefit, like what I mentioned earlier with like Taiwan or Israel, for example. But yeah, bad analogy.
Yeah. So I mean, just to be clear for everyone on the analogy, he's basically saying, hey, if you criticize some guy for banging like thousands of women or something like this, oh, shame on him. He's like, but all the women agreed. And therefore, if Israel is trying to get tons of people to do what they want, but the people still do what they want, and so it's on the people, why are you pointing the finger at Israel?
What the people?
Look, if you said Israel over Muslims, right? Mm-hmm. Which of the two do you think has been a bigger net positive to America?
Oh, well, it has to be Israel, absolutely.
Okay, so
pause. So this is where I actually think that there is some hope for Nick Fuentes, because like if you put a full-blown retard like Jake Shields on here, for example, he would say Muslims, of course,
Muslims saved America. They saved it somehow.
Only do bad.
Yeah.
Nick Fuentes still has a little bit of the integrity to actually admit something here.
Yeah.
And to actually say, of course, Israel had a more net positive, obviously.
It obviously does. I mean, again, I wish Israel be a Christian nation, but again, in terms of pragmatic aspects, which is better? Clearly Israel.
Yeah, which we also saw when everyone was saying Israel killed Charlie Kirk, that Nick was one of the people going, come on, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. There were tons of people, like everywhere I went, Israel did this, Israel. And he's going, seriously? They killed their biggest cheerleader? Are you kidding me? Anyway, so yeah, he does occasionally exhibit some
as much as
common sense.
As much as he's a little gay boy who likes little kids, he does have the integrity to say the right thing, or to make some honest statements here and there. So I have to give him that. But let's continue, because this is where it gets interesting.
It is. He backs up a little bit on it, but let's give him the credit.
Part about that part.
Well, in terms of, I wouldn't say net positive. I would say in terms of raw, maybe like gross positive, because they've had a lot of contributions culturally, and even in terms of art, literature, music, also scientifically. But it's difficult to say on that, because I also think that there's quite a bit of a detriment. I think that the melting pot comes from the Jewish community.
What do you mean by that?
The idea of the melting pot, that comes from a Jewish playwright. Because Jewish people come to America, and like all immigrants, they say, well, we want America to be more welcoming. So they start to spin up these ideas that, well, America was never this country of white Christians. It's always been a melting pot for all immigrants. They want the country to be more open because that makes it more comfortable for them. It makes it more tolerant for them. But this has also made us more open and tolerant for Muslims, for example. We're bringing, who's been the biggest driver of like the Hart-Celler 65 Immigration Act? It was like the SPLC, which is run by.
So then Muslims are more dangerous. Like this is a weird argument. Like if a child opens a gate and a bear runs in, you don't be like, well, the child is clearly more dangerous than the bear. No, that's not how this works. I mean, like, wouldn't this mean that, Islam is more of a threat to Western civilization than Judaism? Because again, Jews apparently have assimilated pretty well, and he's just making the case that they are opening the door to Islam, which is the real problem. So I don't understand. It seems like he's like contradicting what he said earlier.
Well, it would also be another example of how can you believe they're dangerous if they're constantly doing things that would destroy them, that would destroy themselves in the long run, right? It's like, okay, if you're saying that, because I also hear this all the time, David, you're against Islam. Well, don't you know that it's Jews helping Muslims take over the world? Wait, so a bunch of Jews are plotting, and they're saying, how can we get Muslims to take over all these Western nations? And then all these Western nations will be obsessed with exterminating Jews. If you actually believe that, why would you think they're dangerous? You should think they're the most incompetent, most insanely self-destructive group the world has ever seen. And there's no way they're going to succeed because they're going to end up wiping themselves out. They're so dumb. That's the problem. It's guys like Nick Fuentes and so on. They're simultaneously saying things that don't go together. They're simultaneously saying Jews are the supreme masterminds of the entire world. They're epic super geniuses controlling everything behind the scenes. And they're complete morons who control everything and then use everything to stir up hatred against themselves. They control all the media to stir up hostility against themselves. They bring in Muslims to take over the entire world so that Muslims will destroy them. It's like, you can't hold both those positions and not have me think you're a complete lunatic.
And by the way, we white European people, we are the absolute best, always have been. However, for some reason, we are always controlled by these absolutely contemptible people for some weird reason.
That's true. Yeah.
Hey, look, look, Ethan says, host Nick for a debate if he's such an idiot. Are these guys even paying attention, or are these bots or something?
Just ignore him. Just ignore him.
Look at
okay, hey. Yeah, sure. Let's do
I don't even know why. Yeah.
Hop on,
hey,
Nick.
Hey, Ethan, unless you're trying to make Groyper, no, you could just be a troll trying to make Groypers look as stupid as possible. But when we're sitting here going,
you don't need
we agree to debate. We agree to debate. We agree to debate. And you're like, well, why don't you debate him then? You sound, I don't know. Either Groypers are as dumb as we think they are, or you're trolling and trying to make them look seriously dumb.
Yeah. Listen, Nick wants to have a debate. I'm more than happy to do that. I'll debate him on which is better, or which is more of a threat to the West, Judaism or Islam. And I will argue that it is easily Islam.
Anyway,
nanny.
Run by Jewish lawyers. And so
wait.
they are major drivers of mass migration. They're all
wait. Back a little bit. 5 seconds.
Yeah, let me back up a little bit. Yeah, I'll go
back that up.
For Muslims, for example.
Back that thing up.
We're bringing, I mean, who's been the biggest driver of like the Hart-Celler 65 Immigration Act? It was like the SPLC, which is run by Jewish lawyers.
Pause.
And so
the SPLC was founded by non-Jewish people.
What?
And is run by non-Jewish people as well.
What? How dare you? How dare you use facts?
So that's a lie.
They are major drivers.
By the way, this is all that whole thing. Like SPLC is like extreme left wing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This ties in when we were just going through when we're going through an interview with Dennis Prager, and he's pointing out, it's like, you can't say the Jews anything. He says you take like Benjamin Netanyahu has nothing in common with like George Soros, like nothing. Like these guys are not on the same page about anything. And he pointed out, it'd be like people are saying the Jews started communism. What were the communists saying? That the Jews started capitalism. And you can't all be right? Like you can say Jews were involved in this and Jews were involved in that, but when you're going the Jews as if it's some united front, it doesn't make any sense. So just think, I mean, if you're saying the SPLC, blah 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 blah, okay, those are extreme left. That is not, those are not like the diehard Israel supporters. So you're talking about completely different ideologies here, and yet you seem to be thinking that it's all one big plot, that the super right wing ultra Israel supporters and so on, they're working with the extreme left wing SPLC types to bring in as many Muslims as possible. And so it's like, how do you think these guys are super connected and all carrying out one plan when they're constantly doing the exact opposite?
No, David, the Illuminati, which is run by Jews, created communism and capitalism to make us fight and keep the superior white Europeans that are the most intelligent and greatest people on earth controlled by these stupid, dumb Jews, because obviously the conspiracy works, I guess, even though it's illogical.
The old controls
of mass migration. They're also major drivers of the pro-Israel politics, like the Iraq War. was many Jewish journalists and pundits and advocates.
Sure.
So a point being is
the majority of people who supported that were regular American Christian white people. So therefore, Christians are the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, look at what he's doing. He's basically saying, point to anything, and you can find some Jews who are involved. Therefore, the Jews are behind it. And AP's pointing, it's like, you can do that with anyone. AP's done this in the past with Irish, right? He's like, look at all the Irish. Oh my goodness, this guy has Irish ancestry. This guy's grandmother was Irish, and this person was Irish. You see, the Irish. You could do this with anything. You can find white people involved in anything. You can find black people involved in anything. There's just one group where you're like, oh, look, the Jews are involved. Look, I found a Jew. You see, the Jews. It's like, gosh,
it only ever applies to Jews. It never applies to anybody else. Only to Jews. This is their logic.
Calculate on net. And I agree with you. Like, I think there are a lot of people that are critical of Israel that are reluctant to acknowledge the good the Jews do. And I think the Jews they're brilliant. Many of them are brilliant.
So when I'm saying net positive, I'm talking jobs, economy. How often you hear about crime, what they do. Like if you have a choice between living in a city in Minnesota, Dearborn,
tunnels.
And
what about
living
the
in,
tunnel?
I don't know what's the biggest city. What's the city that Boca Raton, let's just say, right? If you have a choice between raising your family between Dearborn and Boca Raton, where do you choose?
Boca Raton.
Okay,
of course,
so the point is like
you get that. He asked him, would you rather live in a major Muslim city or a major Jewish city? And he means, yeah, the Jewish one, obviously. Well, doesn't that again show that Islam is more of a threat, contradicting what Fuentes said earlier?
But you don't get it, IP. I mean, think about why you even have the problem in Dearborn. So you have the Jews, and Henry Ford hated Jews. So he brought in as many Muslims as possible. So the Jews are actually responsible by making Henry Ford hate them for bringing in all these Muslims and taking over the city. So you got to blame the Jews.
It's true. Obviously, it's always the Jews' fault.
They go to a place. And by the way, to me, if that was Muslims, guess what? I would say Muslims.
Right.
But statistically, wherever they live, it's safer, things are nicer, things get better.
I agree.
And that is one part to measure where
He
they
agrees.
so much.
He agrees.
Hey,
He agrees. So wherever Jews go, they make things better.
All his nice claims about Jews where he's actually for a couple seconds.
Nick Fuentes agrees that wherever Jews go, they make things better.
Yep.
And wherever Muslims go, they
That's
make
why we
things
have
worse.
to destroy them.
It's like, this is so ridiculous.
If we don't stop them, they're just going to make everything super, super, super awesome. And then how am I going to get my white supremacist state?
Yeah, it's like he's completely contradicting himself. I mean, so once again, Jews they assimilate. It sounds like they assimilate and they make America better, according to Nick Fuentes.
AP, you should make a little compilation and call it like Nick Fuentes destroys Groypers. And it's him saying all these things that they'll hate.
I just want to point out again. So the topic here is clearly whether Jews are worse or Muslims, or whether Jews are more dangerous or Muslims, because that's the question that came up that PBD brought up to Nick Fuentes, and Nick Fuentes argued that Jews are more dangerous, that he's more concerned about Jews. Yet when asked whether he thinks Jews add more positive or Muslims, he says Jews. When asked whether he would rather live in a Muslim neighborhood or a Jewish neighborhood, he said he would rather live in a Jewish neighborhood. When asked which community makes the places better that they go to, he says Jews. So,
and they make every place better.
I mean, just imagine this. Dearborn just came up, right? Dearborn is currently a very hot topic because whenever Muslims form the majority or form a sizable number in a city or in a place, they start changing it and forcing changes upon it, subverting it directly, literally. They try to impose their own laws. They try to impose their own way of preaching. Right now in Dearborn, they are ignoring regulations and blasting the Islamic call to prayer. The police force is proudly announcing that they're being taken over and turned into an Arabic Islamic police force. The police chief goes and says, Alhamdulillah. They have a rogue system where you cannot criticize Islam in Dearborn, but you can say whatever you want about any other religion and so on. Do Jews do that kind of stuff also when they go to different places? We have cities in America that are that
I'll
are
give you an example.
populated and dominated by Jews. No city that is run by Jews or that is populated by Jews has done any such thing. Those places have only become better for everyone.
I'll give you an example. I grew up in Pittsburgh, and outside of Pittsburgh, there was a Jewish community in an area called Squirrel Hill. Businesses closed on Saturday there. But yet no one had problems with the community. They contributed a lot. They assimilated very well. It was just a very Jewish area. Unlike Dearborn, Michigan, where we're getting all sorts of horrible things coming out of that, as AP just mentioned. But you go to many of the Jewish communities, like the one in New York or Squirrel Hill outside of Pittsburgh. I think it's like the second or the third largest Jewish community in the U.S. No problems. People go to Squirrel Hill to visit it because they're like, this looks fascinating. I want to go see this ethnic Jewish community and just experience it. So people have gone there just to like see the shops, the restaurants. It was a thing in Pittsburgh. People did. Not the same with Dearborn, apparently. As far as I'm aware.
You know what happened in Britain, in London? In London, there are multiple neighborhoods, mostly in East London, that were at some point working class white British places that were at some point populated by Jews. Jews went there and really uplifted those places and built them into becoming prosperous and nice. However, when immigrants arrived from Pakistan or later on Bangladesh and other places, it was considered befitting that the Muslims or those immigrants should go into those areas because those areas are very immigrant populated, or non-British, non-white populated, meaning Jews. So the Muslims go there. They start making things worse. The Jews that built those places actually move out and go to a different neighborhood and then start populating that place and making that place better. Meanwhile, the place that the Jews originally built, which Muslims came to, now turns into a complete crap hole. That is what happens. That is the contrast between Jews and Muslims.
Mm-hmm. You should develop your nerd voice and make it into a Fuentes voice, and then you could do Nick Fuentes meets Muhammad on the Boom Boom Room.
Yeah, problem is I outweigh Nick Fuentes by like 100 pounds.
This is true, yes.
We'd have to find some total. We may have some use for Mike Winger after all.
Excellent. I'll get him to do it. I'll make him agree. Let's see. Groypers prefer to ask incredibly targeted questions in Q&As than debate people because debates allow people to open their arguments. This is true. And again, as the Groypers keep complaining in the chat, as of this point, to debate Fuentes, again, I will debate him. As I've said, you need to rewind and listen out.
Never going to happen.
Would Nick Fuentard as a tradcath choose A, an American of majority Christians, non-Caucasians, or B, an America of majority non-Christian Caucasians? That would be a great question to ask him. That'd be a great question.
I wouldn't call Nick Fuentes a tradcath.
That's true. That's
an insult to tradcath.
Unless he means cats, like maybe Nick Fuentes is an actual cat.
Hey, you know what? For me, the most interesting thing in all of this about Nick Fuentes, why I couldn't possibly take him seriously. It was just back in the day when I first saw him, and he's talking about turning America into a white Catholic nation. I'm thinking, like, what do you think the probability of that actually happening is? So let me ask you too. What do you think are the odds of turning the United States of America, or some huge section of it, into a whites only Catholic nation? What are the odds of that happening?
Zero.
Okay. I think you could turn it into big Catholic section that already exists, but white only, not going to happen.
Yeah. So but the idea that this is going to be the country and he's going to be the president and all this, and it's like, okay, if I hear that your main goal is like something that is just complete delusional nonsense and you have zero hope of succeeding, you just sound like an idiot to me.
Mm-hmm. Zero.
Generally, people are jealous of Jews' dope intelligence. Yes, and apparently they're also stupid for letting all the Muslims in to destroy them because, again, the Groypers have two narratives they can never actually make work. Why can't we agree that both Judaism and Islam are negative for Christian society and values? By the way, I'm going to gobble down AP's cricket. Listen, I again have said multiple times in the stream, I think everyone should be Christian. I would love for everyone to be Christian. I would love for Israel to be Christian. I think, yes, Judaism is a negative in terms of creating a Christian society, but it's like nothing compared to what we're dealing with Islam. They share like half the Bible with us. They have a lot of the similar values that we can work with.
I don't think Jews are a negative at all.
No, Jews are not a negative. Yeah. Judaism, though, I would say, yeah, so different.
I'm sitting here thinking of people like, okay, let me run through my mind of people and who Dennis Prager, Ben Shapiro, like, I don't know, they seem pretty darn good for like American society.
I think Judaism is pretty fantastic, and second to Christianity. I would prefer the world to be filled with Christians and Jews.
Yeah, I would say Judaism is definitely going to be better than Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, all sorts of religions. You know, D Wood, Snaggletooth voice. You're supposed to say this in your Snaggletooth voice, whatever that is.
Snaggletooth. Oh yeah. Mr. Borelli, you're such a fantastic moron. Stop displaying your ignorance.
Yes, Bobby Fischer was anti-Semitic. Look up his awful quotes on 9/11. Yeah, we know. So,
who's Bobby Fischer?
He was a chess player. Beat the Russians.
He was a chess champ. He was a chess prodigy and a chess champion and mental. He was a mental. He had mental problems.
No longer a dispensationalist, but with everything that is going on and how Israel outnumbered manages to humiliate its enemies again and again, some beliefs of dispensationalism may be warranted. Well,
but that doesn't really have anything to do with necessarily with dispensationalism, right? Even if you're going to say that Israel still has a role in the biblical sense.
Do you think Nick will be likely condemned to hell? I certainly hope not, and we should definitely pray that that does not happen.
Well, hell for Nick would kind of be like a bunch of Jews around him.
Probably, yes.
Like in this world, he's already in hell. If he doesn't get his way and get Jews wiped out, then he's going to forever be in a miserable position of having a world with a bunch of Jews in it.
IP
constantly making society better, according to they must be stopped.
IP Mario Party stream when? Oh yeah, they somehow requested that we do a stream where we play Mario Party together, and I'm like, I don't even know how to set that up. Like that'd be insane to try to set up. I don't know what these people are thinking. Why does Nick hate Pen? I don't know what that is so much. Why does he hate that so much? Penichow? I don't know. I'm a Christian.
I will look that up.
Yeah, I'm a Christian first, Indian second. I'm a Christian first, Indian second. It's better for India. This is true. Yes, India will get much better when it becomes Christian. And I say when, not if.
Panocha is pudding made from ground sprouted wheat and piloncillo in New Mexico and southern Colorado. It is traditionally eaten during Lent.
You know what this means, David? This means it's okay to be winger. That's what.
Oh, is that what that means? Okay to be winger.
Yeah, okay to be winger.
Got it.
Yes. That's what it stands for. Yeah.
My deepest thanks to three of you guys for saving me from Groiper brain. Yes, that's great to hear. I had an encounter with Christ the day you exposed Nick. God bless you all. Well, take that, Groipers. We're saved another one from your crazy nonsense, and we hope all of you get out of it as well. Poland understands this. Great. I'm glad Poland understands that. Hang on. Someone paid to play golf is a pro golfer. Paid to play games, a pro gamer. Were you not paid to play Minecraft? I'm not talking anymore, John.
That's a good argument, man.
Mm-hmm.
May the strength of 30 Al-Zut men be with you. Yo, AP, you showed up on that stream. What were you thinking is going on?
I just I saw it I saw it on my featured page on YouTube, and I thought, what is this a bug? Is something wrong going on? And I clicked on it. It was actually you playing Minecraft, and I thought, what the hell is happening here? So then I just left. I thought it was a dream. So
somebody gave me a donation to play Minecraft live, and I'm very angry about that, but I'm not allowed to be.
Yep. Now just let me know when they pay you to play Call of Duty Black Ops Zombie mode.
Very much. I will gladly do that over Minecraft any day. I have to learn it though, because I have not played it anytime lately. But anyway.
Right. Now, do I see them overly aggressive? Do I see them the type that are going to use politicians and buy them like Marjorie Taylor Greene and other people are saying? 100%. Do I see them? They're going to be there in everyone's DM and email saying, hey, we'd love to support you. We'd love to bring you to Israel and, doing all that stuff.
Israel.
It's obvious. I'm seeing it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do I look at that and shame them and say, oh, you shame on? I look at that and say, no, I wish Armenians would do that. I've never gotten an invitation from Prime Minister of Armenia. He should probably send me an invite to go there, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what is so wrong about like Israel trying to help Israel? Like, why are they getting attacked for this? Like, again, if they can make it show that it's mutually beneficial for the West and America to support Israel, why would we be against that? And I mentioned reasons earlier in the stream as to why that'd be good. Same with like Taiwan. Same issue.
It's not a bad idea to come and show the country. I'm Armenian. I'm a Syrian. Syrians don't have a country. It's probably a good idea. You don't see that. You wish others would do that. So for me, as much as when I go into that, by the way, I'll give you one other side that, Israel's going to be like, yeah. This other side to me is I actually do believe they leverage Mossad to get intel. I actually do believe they use blackmail. I actually do believe they do that. So, there's nothing going on with Epstein. No. Michael Wolff did a podcast with him 2 months ago. And when he was at Epstein's house, the 100 hours of recording that he has with him, I said, how many times was Ehud Barak there? Am I saying his name correctly? Or Barak?
Ehud Barak.
He said he was there many times. He saw Bill Gates there many times. Why would the former prime minister visit the guy 30-something times? Just because the conversation's great? That's a little bit suspect, right?
This is actually a very, very interesting topic. You know why? From the outside, this is again one of those instances. So he was actually reported to have interacted too much with Jeffrey Epstein, and something was really going on. But where this is becoming a big scandal and where people are actually attacking him over this the most right now in Israel.
What?
This is where people make the same stupid thing again, where they act like Israel is just one entity. Jews are just one entity, and one of them is responsible for all of them, and they all act together in unison. This is not how it works. Benjamin Netanyahu himself, in the parliament, in the Knesset, gave a speech, I think a month ago or so, where he was calling out the deep state, as he calls it, and was blasting them, and was calling out Ehud Barak as well, and was talking about the whole Jeffrey Epstein conspiracy, and was trying to hold people accountable. So there is a big fight right now going on in the Israeli Knesset about these revelations of some people actually working with Jeffrey Epstein, and some people being caught up with Jeffrey Epstein in certain conspiracies and all that. So this is how it is. This is not Israel doing things. This is not Jews doing things. Israelis themselves are fighting about this as we speak.
Oh, also this dude, Ehud Barak, calls for a revolt against Netanyahu and overthrowing the government.
What?
Former Prime Minister Ehud Barak calls for civic revolt to bring down the government of incumbent Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who he says is acting impulsively like a caged animal. A black flag of illegitimacy flies over every one of its actions, and it's our civic duty to act in every way possible toward its downfall before it marches us into the abyss. Speaking before 1,000 anti-government protesters. So he's calling for revolt against Netanyahu. Anyway, the point there is it's exactly what we saw Dennis Prager say. You can't say the Jews. Anything. You point to this guy and say, look at this guy's a problem. Okay, well, I mean, he's the guy who's declaring war on the other guy that you say is causing all the problems. It's like, anyway, don't
Can you guys briefly mention the fact that there are now U.S. cities that are Muslim cities with the call to prayer and mayors telling a pastor, you're not welcome, yet people are yelling, the Jews. Yeah, we addressed Dearborn earlier. It's not as bad as it is in Europe, for sure. Like, for example, I know in Tucson, when a lot of Muslims come here, a lot of them deconvert and assimilate very well. And there's ministries here that help with that. So yeah, a lot of Christians are being made from refugees.
Oh, it's also funny. You have tons of Shias in Dearborn as well. It's actually funny. It's funny. We do have some fans there, right? Like there are fans. Like we'll be sitting there. I mean, me and Nabil were hanging out with some Muslims like on their porch and stuff like this, and we were talking about things like, oh yeah, we agree with you on that. We can't stand this Sunni nonsense. Yeah, their sources are garbage. Yeah, they have all this creepy stuff. Yeah, we hope you guys do crush them on this stuff. Anyway, it's actually funny.
Excellent. Hey, please interview Dr. Itin Bar, Seth Postel, and Ezra Soref, Messianic Jewish scholars who wrote Reading Moses, Seeing Jesus. They all ran a podcast years ago with respectful polemics. Thank you. I'll look into that. I had Nick
Reading Moses, Seeing Jesus. It sounds like they copied that from somewhere, or that Nabil copied his title from somewhere.
That'd be interesting. Moses, which came out first?
Yeah, I'm about to find out.
Okay. I had a Nick fan tell me Ashkenazi.
Hey. What? Originally published February 2018. You guys stole that from Nabil. But since you're Messianics and you're sporting the Messiah, the true Messiah, you get the thumbs up. I'll give you permission. I'll give you permission to adapt that title.
I had a Nick fan tell me Ashkenazi can't be Jews because mixed race children are physically impossible because Noah having 3 sons or something. Well, then that is the dumbest crap I've ever heard. Holy crap.
What?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Okay. Mixed race are impossible. Okay. Well, uninspiring philosophy. I will dislike this video because you invited Diddy. Who is Diddy? Is that your cricket or something?
I'm not sure who Diddy is.
I think it's AP's cricket.
It's David Woodman.
Nick gave Catboy Destiny Mammons. He's a Johto. I don't know what slang that means, but it sounds gross.
I don't know what that means, but it does sound pretty nasty.
Pretty gross. This is insane. This is just as insane as that one website I found that said Martin Luther was a Canaanite Kabbalist Jew sent to destroy Christian unity.
Martin Luther hated Jews.
No, he was a Jew. Hey, don't you get it? Ash says in his defense, there is one Jew in the world. This is true. Jesus is king. This is true.
Yes.
Boy, Ash. Groiper, the USS Liberty. Me, Constantinople. Nice. Netanyahu should see if he can hire Lily J. She can ask ChatGPT about the Jews. Yo, that's a good point. I bet if you just talk to her, you could easily pay her more than whatever Saudi Arabia is paying her. There you go. Then she's on your side. She'll start asking ChatGPT about Judaism, and then in a year she'll convert and do a bunch of videos.
ChatGPT, is it true that Palestine never existed?
Yes, it is absolutely true. One of the nicest churches I've been to is in Dearborn, Michigan, so it's not totally lost. That's great to hear. I would like to see a lot of like churches up there start to focus on like things like the Islamic dilemma, pointing out the horrible, gross, disgusting stuff in the Hadith, for example. That'd be great if some churches up in Dearborn want us to come up and speak, I will go. I will pay for my own flight. So
I'm scared of the Muslims, man.
IP, we need to do something like we did in Times Square. Get some good technology. We'll go. We can set up in a park there. We can set up in a park and tell Muslims that they're willing to. They're invited to come have discussions with us. It's weird that that pastor who got told he should go ahead and leave the city. I heard from 2 people who know that guy. And they said he's like super like loving towards Muslims. He's like, guys, we got to love the Muslims and share the gospel with them and stuff, but we shouldn't be hating them and blah, blah, blah. And that's how he is. He was just ticked off that they're naming a street after a guy who openly supported terrorists. He's just like, hey, we can't have that. They're like, get out of our city. Yes, you love Muslims and you tell people they shouldn't hate Muslims, but get out of our city. It's crazy.
Yeah, we should connect with him and see if we can go up to do something in Dearborn because I'd be happy to do that. Why not?
He seriously, he probably would not like me or AP and would think we're too mean to Muslims. And this is the guy, like, he's too extreme for you to be in your city.
Yeah. Should we get the ATF to regulate the Quran instead? Yes, absolutely. Hell for Nick would be the Muslim version of paradise. 72 virgin women. Ick. This is true. D Wood, Panocha was a reference to Nick being afraid of female reproductive organ.
Oh, well, why don't you just say that? I didn't know that that's slang. It's actual food for Lent.
Matt says he's playing Code Zombies while watching a stream. This is great. Absolutely. Netanyahu's son was sued by Barack about Epstein. Barack Obama?
Ehud Barak, probably.
Oh, okay. I see. All right. Hey, IP, I wanted to show... That's good. That's great. I'm glad. I'm really proud of you. I wanted to show support. We may not agree on everything, but your videos have really been helping me grow closer to Jesus. Thank you. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Yep. And for all the Groypers watching, go check out the channel. Most of what I do is just defending Christianity. Like, so for you all complaining, why are you always attacking Nick? Rarely do we do this kind of stuff, but we like to pick on you guys occasionally. But check out the channel. You might learn something about how to defend the gospel.
Groypers don't care about Christianity, man.
That's true. I forgot about that. Why do coins have ridges? Because of the Jews, obviously, Elliot. Did you think about that? Part of the Jewish conspiracy. Netanyahu was one of the first people to draw attention to the Epstein connection with Barack. The faction is opposed to Netanyahu. Yeah, well, good point. Just a dear reminder that if it wasn't for Israel, Iraq and Syria would have a working nuclear power plant, and in both cases, plutonium-activated weapons in the 1970s. Yeah,
this is true.
Point. Yeah, that's another thing. Do we want the Islamic world to have more nuclear weapons?
With Iran explicitly working on military-grade nuclear enrichment.
Yeah, that'd be insane. I wanted to play another part of this interview. Where is it? Yeah. Let me go back to this here because they played a clip earlier that I want to go to. Go back to 102.25 here.
The way I see it, Nick, is one of my kids is very political, more than I'm political, but he's in the climate. So he's always, yesterday he's at the Charlie's.
Hold on, let me go back. The audio clip is actually, I believe, at 52. Yeah, here we go.
Yes, absolutely. You laugh at it like...
How so? Can you...
Would you say that me having sex with my dog is the same thing as me having sex with a black man?
No. But they would both be degenerate.
Oh, this...
Well, that's a little bit, that's a little bit harsh.
Well,
could be seen as harsh, could be seen as disrespectful. If I was an African American, I would be very
Why would you be
annoyed,
African?
upset, frustrated, angry with you, and somebody could say that is racist. And the average person, and I'm just
of course it's racist.
To be fair,
racist.
To be fair, I have to offer some nuance here.
Yeah, I was about to.
If Nick Fuentes is going to say having sex or having a child with a black person is degenerate, that in and of itself would be a problematic statement, but that is basically all that is being said here. The comparison to having sex with a dog, for example, here is actually unnecessary because Nick clarified in that clip that it's not the same, although both are degenerate. They could be different degrees of degenerate. You could agree, for example, that that homosexuality and bestiality are both degenerate. That doesn't mean that you're comparing gay people to animals.
But there's nothing degenerate about two humans.
I know, of course, and that in and of itself is a problem, of course, and that needs to be addressed. But the comparison here to the animal is not really necessary, and it's kind of besides the point, considering that Nick denied that.
Yeah. Now, I would say this clip was filmed without Nick's permission, or he didn't even know he was being filmed when he said that, and then it went viral. But I mean, like, it's still just insane. Like, Nick reiterates in this interview that he thinks race mixing is immoral or degenerate, which is insanely stupid. Like, there is more homogenous genes between humans all over the earth than just like the various troops of chimpanzees in Africa. There's more genetic homogeny, for example. Like there's more genetic similarities between a black guy and a white guy than there are between different troops of chimpanzees in Africa, for example. So we are very genetically similar despite being different races, so to speak. So this is like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like there's no moral case that can be made that race mixing is immoral or degenerate.
Well, also just think about how idiot, and you have a ton of Groiper racists here. The greatest of all time says Nick isn't wrong on this though. Like, I mean, guys, he's half Mexican. He's Mexican, Italian, and Irish, which means that his family was race mixing. So he's basically degenerate scum, according to you. Man, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with these idiots, man? Oh, this race got together and had a baby with this race, and then they predict something. Oh my goodness, you guys are such freaking losers, man. You are pathetic, brainwashed losers. And I'm saying this because all five of my sons are part white and part Asian. You can't do that. Shut up. You don't control the world, you giant morons. Who you think you are, the Jews? What? Can you guys imagine a like more pathetic bunch of losers?
This is also
racists can't mix. That will hurt our feelings because we worship a guy who's mixed race.
This also clearly goes against Christianity. This is incompatible with Christianity. It is actually explicitly in contradiction with the New Testament. So you can't, if you're going to say it is degenerate to have, interracial marriages or interracial families or interracial sex, whatever it is, if you want to say this is degenerate, you have to really define what exactly you're basing your moral judgment here on. If you try to base it on Christianity, you will fail because that statement is contradictory to Christianity. If you try to base it on something else, then you shouldn't claim to be Christian, or you shouldn't claim that you base your morality on Christianity.
I think this is where Nick talks more about that.
He's at the Charlie's memorial, and this was one of the most difficult days of his life, witnessing Charlie pass away. I've never seen him. This is a very strong kid. 30 minutes on my shoulders going because of what happened with Charlie.
Pause it real quick. You've got Nick's defender saying Mexican's not a different race. What did he say when the police officer said, "Hey, they said you're a white supremacist"? He goes, "What? How can I be white supremacist when I'm Mexican?"
Yeah, I'm not a white supremacist. I'm Mexican. My last name is
I can't be a white supremacist. I'm Mexican. So he apparently thought that was completely inconsistent.
Yep.
Anyway,
yeah,
nice try, guys. You can't just change your story every time. You can't do it. I mean, you can because you're morons, and that's what you have to do. But that's kind of a sign to everyone else that you're a bunch of losers.
Let me go back to this. I think I found the clip.
Discretion there. And that's not to say that I'm, thought I could get away with it, but we don't speak in a lawyerly way when we're among friends.
Do you believe that? You don't believe that, though.
What? That it's degenerate?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's immoral. I don't know that I would say degenerate, but I would say it's contrary to my values.
How much are you saying that in that moment because you're trying to be a shock jock and you're trying to get attention?
I wasn't trying to be shock jock. Think about the question that was posed. Let's just back. I want to know what you think about this. We're in a private conversation. A girl takes her phone out, starts secretly recording and says, "Is having sex with a black man the same as having sex with a dog?"
Did you know she was doing that or no?
I didn't know she was.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, listen. Yeah, you got.
What is that to you? That's a setup.
Nick, I'm talking to you in a way as if you're my nephew or my son. Not in a. Don't take it as I'm this to you. I'm not doing that at all. I'm just talking to you as I'm new to this game. I'm a business guy, so I haven't been. When I hear the histories, I don't know everyone's histories. When you don't know what you're talking about, you're right. We don't know the history of everybody, but we're willing to learn. We'll talk to everybody. The way I see it, Nick, is one of my kids is very political.
So real quick, Nick did say it's against his values, and he wasn't trying to do it for shock value. So he hasn't disavowed the statement. He still seems to be. That's an odd freeze frame.
Yeah, it's perfect for a thumbnail.
Yeah, it was bothering me. I couldn't stop staring at it. But I mean, like he has not completely disavowed it. He has said that maybe it's not degenerate or immoral, but that's not a total disavow. He says it's against his values. How is it what values? Like, are you saying it's bad in some way? What case could be made that race mixing goes against values, like good values? It seems what he's suggesting. I don't think any case could be made, especially in today's world with our advanced knowledge and understanding of how genetics works. I don't think any case can be made.
Obviously not Christian values. So
exactly, obviously. So he's obviously has values that are not Christian values if he's against race mixing. And I'd say that to any Christian who claims such a stupid thing like that. The milkman says, I hope one day you guys will react to a mode matter. Don't know who that is, but I'll try to look it up. Have y'all pressed Muslims on Surah 930? Force them to show any evidence of Jews claim. Yeah, we've done this a million times, bro.
Surah 930? No, I never heard of it, man.
Mm-hmm. What do you tell a Muslim that says Christianity is decreasing and Islam is growing? So that seems to have shifted this past year.
Yeah, and you have to say, so one, let me give everyone a quick background here. This was from a Pew Research study years ago that said Islam is the world's fastest growing religion. There's nothing that says Christianity is decreasing. What planet are you on? Even if you had like church attendance declining and so on, Christianity as a portion of the numbers of Christians in the world was growing. Mm-hmm. So there's nothing that says Christianity is going to decrease. But the study said that Islam is the world's fastest growing religion. And Muslims say, you see, this is the proof because so many people are converting to it. It had nothing to do with conversions. It was about birth rates in Muslim countries and in non-Muslim countries. Muslims have the highest birth rates. If you look into why Muslims have the highest birth rates, it's because of the impact on women, that there's much less of an incentive for women to go to college and things like that. And so they marry off girls when they're young and they start having babies, and you end up with much higher birth rates. And so if you wanted to make an argument out of it, you'd have to say that because Islam has this impact on women and turns them into baby making machines with nothing else to do in life, Islam must be true. And since Christianity doesn't do that, Christianity must be false. And I'd be interested in seeing anyone actually defend that argument. But Muslims don't actually defend that. They just they act like it's because of so many people converting, which, by the way, I mean, think if tons of people were converting to it, would that make it true?
Yes.
No. I mean, one of the fastest growing movements in history was communism. What's that have to do with whether it's true?
That means communism is true.
So anyway, it's kind of an example of Muslims will cling to absolutely anything that they can twist into an argument for Islam. That's it. And if things change tomorrow, I mean, think if you wanted to go along these lines and say, which they do, oh, Islam is the world's fastest growing religion, and we're going to just pretend that it's because of so many people converting to it, therefore it must be the truth. Well, I mean, why not say Christianity is the world's largest religion, so it must be the truth? Suddenly, no Muslim in the world would think that's a good argument, not even slightly. And so it's just this, yeah, they will pick anything that they can twist into an argument, no matter how insane and silly, and they will consider it airtight until you use a similar argument against them, and then they'll think it's their reasoning ability will suddenly click on, and they will see that it's a stupid argument.
Just want to reiterate one point here. There is no evidence at all, and it has never been the case. There's no such thing that Christianity is actually declining or that the number of Christians is decreasing. The number of Christians is steadily rising. It is also projected to rise, even according to those studies.
Yeah. It has a lot to do with birth rate. So the people that deconvert end up having little to no children. Christians still have large numbers of children. And as time has been going on these past several decades, more polarization has been happening in America. So Christian parents are now homeschooling at the highest rates ever since public schooling was available, as far last I checked. Or it may be in the last 100 years, but I have to check on that again. But so extremely high levels of homeschooling, higher levels of Christians not sending their kids to secular liberal colleges anymore because they don't want their kids to be deconverted. So because of the increased polarization caused by atheists and secularists, it's actually making Christians be more protective of their kids. And they're still having kids at high rates. Meanwhile, secularists don't. So we're going to see a lot less in the future of them, of the secular atheist side, getting more converts from Christian children, because that's generally how they have survived the past few decades. Does the Talmud say that Jesus is an excrement and Mary was a temptress or something? So this is debated. It mentions someone named Yeshua, and scholars actually debate if that is Jesus of Nazareth or not. If it does, here's the thing to keep in mind. The Talmud is not like a strict set of beliefs for all Jews to hold to. It's dialogues between different rabbis, what they're having. If one rabbi said that, that doesn't magically mean every Jew has to agree with it, like you'll see the Groypers claim. It's absurd nonsense. So I've talked to Jews, and they think Jesus is in heaven, for example. I've had Jews tell me Christians are going to heaven. So like this idea that all Jews believe this is absurd. You don't understand how the Talmud works. It's the dialogue. You go through different beliefs, different conversations rabbis have. Sometimes rabbis even refute what previous rabbis have argued.
Yeah. So what it does say is what it does do in this regard is that it mentions one rabbi from ages ago who tells a story of some guy coming and actually telling a story of somebody named Yeshua trying to deceive or lead astray the Jewish people, and then therefore boiling in burning excrement or being punished in boiling excrement or something like that. And that's all it is. That's literally all it is. And this is not a teaching that people are taught to believe. This is not taught to Jews around the world. The vast majority of Jews have never even heard of this. It's literally something like a footnote, and it is a matter that is debated among those who have heard of it, and it is not meant to be taken as a normative teaching in any sense at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as AP just pointed out, if you bring this up to Jews, they will have no clue what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right. And if they have heard of it, they heard of it from a Groyper complaining about them. That's where you heard it, right? So it's you guys who are spreading this stuff. Anyway,
you know what's funny about this? The other aspect of this is part of the question that the Virgin Mary was a temptress, according to this question here. Now, Jews don't believe that.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a Jewish belief. You know who did believe that though? Hitler believed that.
Mm.
A lot of these Groypers.
Isn't he the hero of Groypers everywhere?
Will come and will praise Hitler, for example. Hitler actually did explicitly and very clearly. You know what Hitler believed? Hitler said in his speeches, in his monologues or his dialogues at the table, he did say that Jesus was actually not a Jew but an Aryan, because he was born as a result of his mother Mary being either in an illegitimate relationship or being sexually abused by a Roman soldier, and therefore Jesus coming into existence as a mixed person of partial Aryan origin. This is what Hitler believed. So
Alexander's calling that, saying, find the quote, apparently.
These people who actually praise Hitler and then have a problem with Jews, I want to say some really harsh things, but I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. I'm going to look up that quote, see if I can find it. Islam is a cancer cell rapidly growing, but slowly dying. Yes, very true. If Islam becomes non-existent in your lifetime, how would you guys celebrate and move on? Would you rest and move on to debating different groups? Yes, of course. Yeah, plenty of other groups, plenty of other mission work to do.
There will still be some atheists out there to completely humiliate, and we also have weird cults like the Groypers, as you can see in the chat.
Yeah, for sure. Would Nick say Moses is a degenerate for marrying a Midianite? Absolutely, you'd have to.
But in his defense, Moses is a Jew, so he's just inherently bad too. So who would say what he should be doing?
Love you guys. Honest question. Does the Talmud assign winners of the argument between rabbis asking in good faith? I don't think all the time. I think there's plenty of times it just leaves it open, for example. But I would it again. The Talmud is pretty exhaustive. You'd have to, look into that some more. I don't know. It's depends on the specific section you're looking at. God separated the nations at Babel, at Pentecost, their own languages, revelation, all nations, tribes, tongues, distinction, not mixing, is what he says. Okay. Does it ever say that people of those nations cannot mix? Cannot. Like, where does it make the claim that if you are a white German, you can only marry white Germans? Okay. Never once does it say that. In fact, it connects everyone to be the same human family going back to Noah. Therefore, it would not, that no biblical writer would consider it wrong to be, for example, like a Jew and you marry a non-Jew, for example. Well, I mean, except for like certain times, like during the Old Covenant, but in like today's period under the New Covenant, it wouldn't follow if we've all been redeemed by Christ. So yes, there are different nations. There will always be different groups of people, but that there's never an argument that they cannot mix, for example. That's a ridiculous argument you actually need to show. AP's looking something up.
Here's what's most pathetic about all this. It's like when I asked, what do you guys think the odds are of getting a white Catholic only United States of America? And we're thinking like 0%. Completely idiotic, and yet these delusional morons will like, this is our goal in life. Okay, you're setting your goal to be a completely delusional bunch of nonsense. But I mean, think why they're so desperate and flipping out right now. Let me just give an example. So I mentioned my kids. So my wife, her dad's white, her mom is Filipino, right? So my wife is mixed white and Asian. Married a guy who's half white, half black. So guess what? Their kids are mixed white, black, and Asian. My brother, John, his dad was Nicaraguan. So guess what? We get together at the family reunion. If we all come together, we've got black, white, Asian, Hispanic. It's all mixing up really rapidly, right?
Why do you hate America?
You go back 2 generations, it was all white people over here, and and it's mixing up really quick, which means, guess what? How are you even going to run this argument 20 years from now? When like, how are you going to run this? Like, seriously, how are you guys still going to be running this argument when almost everyone has mixed family members and they're going to think it's insane to just divide everyone up and separate everyone? Yeah. Like, that's why they're like desperate right now. Like, we got to do it right now because it won't work in 10 years. It's not going to work now, you giant morons. Do something with your life.
And you also have Galatians.
Like the most pathetic I mean, the guys, I want to say, groypers, you guys are, I trust Muslims more than I have more respect for Muslims than I have for you guys. Like, seriously, I have more respect for jihadis than I have for you guys. You're so pathetic. I'm not joking. You guys are so freaking delusional and pathetic. It's like, oh my goodness. Like,
you also have Galatians 3:28,
man.
Galatians 3:28 says there's neither Jew nor Greek. So,
well, it doesn't say there's no black and no white. So you didn't say, the Apostle Paul didn't say that. So clearly he understood that blacks and whites are going to be separate forever.
Yes, if we're one in Christ, our race doesn't matter. We can intermingle as much. This is the importance of the new covenant. But
so I was trying to look it up, and so what about this reference? It says here, and it is not appropriate for the races to mix. Whites shall not mix with blacks, and blacks shall not mix with Mexicans.
Good point.
And this is very immoral and degenerate. It says this here in I Made It Uponomy 35. There you go. In
Powerful.
your face.
Powerful.
In your face. It's right here in the Bible.
Appreciate your work, IP. I only disagree with you on theistic evolution. Would you ever debate Dr. Jason Lau? Yes. For the love of God, yes, I would. He won't debate anyone unless they have a doctorate. So ask him. Okay. Same with Nick Fuentes. I'll debate him for sure. He won't do it though. Same with Dr. Jason Lau. Much better person, but by far. But he won't debate anyone who doesn't have a doctorate, which I don't respect that. Would be great for you to go deeper into Talmud apologetics just for the sake of a broader foundation for evangelism, maybe in the future. I think Islam is more of a bigger threat right now. I'm worrying about. That's what I'm focusing on.
I think I actually got a hold of an Orthodox Christian priest who is also a scholar in the Talmud. I'm trying to set something up, but I think I'm going to have a little analysis with him about all these wild claims that people make about the Talmud.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, people will accuse him of being the secret Jew.
Absolutely. Talmud usually provides no final ruling. Sometimes rabbis in the Talmud mock each other for their opinions. It's like reading all record of America court proceedings, legislative discourse since 1776. Yeah, that's a good point. That's kind of what it's like, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, I've pointed that out before, and I said, imagine Christians did something similar where they compiled all debates among Christians on various topics and various understandings of the Bible for the past 2,000 years, and they put it all together into one big collection. And then, so imagine we just collected debates between Christian theologians and priests and pastors and stuff over all these centuries, and then a critic coming along and treating it like that is an authoritative book where every quotation in there applies to every Christian or something like that. And so you'd go and you'd find this quote by Martin Luther about the Jews, and you say, see, this is what Christians believe. That's kind of what people are doing because they're stupid.
Hey, pull up that super chat. This is the most retarded thing.
This is the most. So Galatians 3:28 also says no male or female.
Are you okay with female priests and trans now? Because that's what you're talking about, obviously.
Oh my gosh. Oh, you can't be this stupid, bro. Okay, let me explain to you the basics of what the verse is saying.
Hey, don't insult and be nice, please. What is
all
this?
right? Be
retarded,
nice.
Stupid. What is this?
Okay, the verse is pointing out we are all equal and we are all one community. Okay, so in a community, you can have males and females without losing the inherent quality of what it is to be male or female. That does not work for the master-slave relationship. That does not work for people that are against race mixing, because if Greeks and Jews are now part of one community, they're not different communities that are somehow forbidden from mixing, which is nowhere argued in the Bible. So if you're one community, you shouldn't see yourselves as different nations. We should all see ourselves as Christian primarily. Therefore, a black Christian marrying a white Christian is perfectly fine. You don't lose the inherent qualities. With like trans, you that's going against obviously inherent qualities because you're trying to disregard inherent qualities of male or female. When he says we're one in Christ, men and women can be one in Christ without losing the inherent qualities of what it is to be female or male. So this does not work. You don't understand how the verse works.
Let's read the whole context.
Hang on. I also want to an IP. So if you're saying that Galatians 3:28 would allow Jews and Gentiles to mix with each other, are you saying that men and women can mix with each other too? How could you be saying such a thing? This would ruin the fundamental rule of Kuiperville. No mixing between men and women.
So
I didn't think of it.
Let's read the context here from Galatians 3:20. What is that? 23 to 29. Before the coming of this faith, we were held in custody under the law, locked up until the faith that was to come would be revealed. So the law was our guardian until Christ came, that we might be justified by faith. Now that this faith has come, we are no longer under a guardian. So in Christ Jesus, you are all children of God through faith. For all of you who were baptized into Christ have clothed yourselves with Christ. There is neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, nor is there male and female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. If you belong to Christ, then you are Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. So does this rather sound like there is no such thing as racially different?
No.
And racial separation? Or does this rather sound like you should just get rid of that whole idea and be one in Christ? That's what it
Be
sounds.
one in Christ. Exactly. We're all one community. That's the point. Nick on an alt account, but what about men with men? It's a good point. All right, I'm going to close this out. I don't have any more of that interview I want to listen to. I'd like to go on PBD at some point to talk to him about Islam and the harm it causes and why we should be worried about it. So if anyone can make that happen, please let me know. I'll be happy to do that.
No, I think you'd have PBD could have a nice long conversation with you and cover a variety of interesting topics.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
It would be the nerdiest discussion he's ever had because you'd be quoting all these sources and statistics and studies and so on, but would have some good material in there.
Powerful. So, all right, everyone. Appreciate everyone. Appreciate you all for coming. I'm exhausted and my eyes are starting to hurt, so I'm going to close this.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. LASIK, still recovering from that, so a little blurry on this side still, but doing pretty good. Make sure everybody comments after the show. It will help the stream do better. If everyone watching just puts a comment below, please do that. It'll spread more. And I'll be live tomorrow with Dr. Sijuwadi. We're doing a live call-in show with Muslims, so send Muslims over to debate us. We're going to be asking them about the Islamic dilemma.
Why are you going live with a non-white person?
It's true. I can't be mixing like that.
It's degenerate.
Yeah. All right, everyone. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern is when we'll be doing it. So see you guys tomorrow. You made it to the end of this video, which means this message matters to you. If you want to see more content like this reaching people for Christ, you can help make it happen. Your support makes these videos possible. Click the link below and donate today. And if you want to go even deeper, consider joining our Patreon community. You'll get early access to videos, behind-the-scenes content, and a place to connect with others passionate about this mission.